What if the secret to a calmer life isn't really about managing stress, but about designing a world where you don't have to? That's the really powerful idea we're going to explore today, and we'll do it by looking at three brilliant principles from Japan that trade raw willpower for thoughtful design. So let's dive in. It's a pretty interesting question, right? Some cultures just seem to navigate all the chaos with a lot more grace. Is it something they're born with? Some kind of historical fluke? Well, the concepts we're about to explore suggest the answer is actually a lot simpler and way more practical. It's not about who they are, it's about the systems they live by, a deliberate design for living. So on the left here, we've got the familiar hamster wheel. Hustle culture, we all know this. It's defined by the grind, by forcing things to happen, and by optimizing every single second of the day. But on the right, we see a completely different path, quiet living. Now, this isn't about being lazy or passive. It's about flow and acceptance, and it's all driven by intentional design. It's a huge shift from just pushing harder to architecting smarter. Okay, so how do you actually make that shift? Our cultural default is always just more discipline, right? More willpower. But this is where we need to challenge that core assumption. Is more force really the path to less friction in your life?
I mean, we've all heard this a million times. Feeling overwhelmed? Just push through it. Can't stick to a diet? Just try harder. This idea that willpower is this muscle we just need to flex more and more, well, that's at the very heart of hustle culture. But what if it's actually making things harder for us? And this is the idea that just flips the entire script. See, the path to calm isn't about winning some constant, exhausting battle against your own impulses. It's about becoming an architect of your environment, your routines, your space, your mindset, to make the calm, healthy choice the absolute path of least resistance.
Let's see what this looks like in the real world. Our first principle comes from something we do multiple times a day, eating. It's the perfect place to see the power of design over sheer discipline. So the concept is called Hara Hachi Bu. It's an Okinawan practice, and it translates roughly to eat until you are 8 parts out of 10 full. It sounds simple, I know, but its brilliance is all in the design, not in restriction. This simple idea reframes everything. That last 20% isn't about depriving yourself. It's a purposefully designed buffer for ease. By stopping at 80%, you're not leaving the table hungry. You're just intentionally leaving room to feel energized and comfortable later, instead of sluggish and overstuffed. You simply designed a better feeling for yourself. So, why does this work so well? Well, biologically, there's about a 20-minute delay for your stomach to signal to your brain that it's actually full. Hara Hachi Bu is designed to account for that lag time. And psychologically, it counters this really powerful pull called unit bias, our tendency to finish whatever portion is put in front of us, no matter how big. By setting the boundary at 80% from the start, you sidestep willpower completely. The decision was already made by the system you designed. Okay, so we've designed our plate. Now let's apply that exact same logic to designing our rest. In the West, we often treat being tired as an enemy that we have to defeat with caffeine. But this next principle, it offers a radically different approach. This is the practice of Inemuri, which kind of translates to be present while sleeping. It's the culturally accepted practice of taking short naps in public, on the train, or even in a meeting. Now, to us, that might look like slacking off, but the philosophy behind it is actually pretty profound. This is a huge redesign of our relationship with fatigue. Instead of fighting it, Inemuri treats tiredness not as some moral failing, but as useful data. A quick nap isn't seen as laziness, it's seen as a sign of diligence. It's proof that you've worked hard and now you're strategically recharging. The whole system is designed to work with your body's natural signals, not declare war on them. Okay, so we've designed our plate and our rest. Our final principle shows us how to design that critical transition between the stress of the day and the calm of the evening. So let's look at the Japanese hot bath ritual. And the key word here for sure is ritual. This isn't just about getting clean. It's a very structured, multi-step process. Crucially, you wash and rinse your body completely before you even get into the clean, hot water to soak. This deliberate separation has a really powerful effect. Here's why this is just a masterclass in design. Physically, the hot water activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your body's rest and digest mode. But just as important is the psychological effect. The ritual creates this undeniable boundary. It's a crystal clear signal to your brain and your body that the day is officially done. You've literally created a designed off-ramp from the highway of daily stress. So there we have it. 3 specific examples: eating to 80%, napping with purpose, and a bathing ritual. But the real power here is in pulling out the underlying principles so we can build our own architecture of quiet.
If there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. Stop trying to be the hero who can withstand endless stress. Start being the architect who designs a smarter, calmer environment. The goal isn't to get better at enduring stress, it's to need to endure less of it to begin with.
So how can you start applying this? Well, it really just boils down to 3 design principles. First, create boundaries beforehand, like with Hara Hachi Bu. Second, reframe the signals from your body, treating things like tiredness as useful data, not a weakness, just like with Inemuri. And third, build triggers, those reliable rituals that cue your body to relax. See, these aren't just Japanese habits. They are universal principles for a better designed life.
So I'll leave you with this question. Forget about a total life makeover. Looking at your own day, what is one small thing you could intentionally design, not force, to create just a little more quiet? Maybe it's putting your phone in another room after 9 p.m., or maybe it's just laying out your workout clothes the night before. The power isn't in some grand gesture. It's in the smart, simple design.